Welcome back to the channel. Today we're exploring the world of wheat pennies, some of the most valuable and collectible coins in U.S. history. These classic Lincoln cents, minted between 1909 and 1958, might look ordinary, but many of them are worth far more than just 1 cent. Some rare wheat pennies can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on their year, mint mark, and condition. So make sure you watch this video till the very end, because you might have a rare wheat penny hiding in your collection right now. And if you love learning about old and valuable coins, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on all notifications so you never miss a video about the coins that could be worth a fortune. Let's get started. First up, the 1953 wheat penny with the D mint mark is one of those coins that many collectors overlook, yet it holds surprising value and historical significance. This coin was minted in Denver and carries the D mint mark right below the date on the obverse side, just under Abraham Lincoln's shoulder. While at first glance it might seem like an ordinary Lincoln wheat cent, the 1953 D penny actually has a story of its own, and in certain conditions, it can be worth far more than its face value of 1 cent. Viewers, this coin is valuable, and by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why collectors seek it, what makes it special, and how to identify the details that can make your 1953 D penny worth real money. The 1953 D Lincoln wheat penny was struck at the Denver Mint, which produced an enormous number of pennies that year, over 700 million coins. Even with such a large mintage, not all of them have survived in great condition. Most have circulated heavily, showing wear on Lincoln's hair, jawline, and the wheat stalks on the reverse. But coins that have sharp details, original red luster, or mint state quality can bring collectors' attention. When a 1953 D wheat penny remains in high grade, it's not just a coin. It becomes a valuable piece of mid-20th century American history. This coin is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, part of the classic bronze composition used for Lincoln cents before the 1982 change to copper-plated zinc. That heavy copper composition gives it a distinct color and feel. The warm reddish-brown tone of an original 1953 D penny can vary, and collectors often classify them as red, red-brown, or brown. The redder the coin, the more valuable it tends to be. The copper reacts to oxygen over decades, which is why many coins from 1953 appear darker today. Now, what makes the 1953 D penny truly valuable are the varieties and condition levels. Even though it was mass-produced, certain die-errors and doubling varieties exist that can make this penny far more valuable than you might imagine. Collectors have reported double die obverse, repunched mint marks, and off-center strikes among the Denver minted coins. If your coin shows signs of doubling in the date, mint mark, or letters of liberty, and in God we trust, that's a sign to look closely. You may have an error coin worth significantly more. For instance, a sharp repunched D mint mark where the letter appears doubled or slightly misaligned is one of the most collectible varieties. These small details, visible even with a basic magnifying glass, can turn an ordinary wheat penny into a treasure. Some 1953 D pennies with these unique traits have sold for impressive amounts in auctions, depending on their grade and luster. Even standard 1953 D wheat pennies that have been preserved in mint state condition are worth much more than face value. Circulated examples might only bring a few cents to a dollar, but when the coin remains bright, red, and free from scratches or spots, collectors are willing to pay a premium. The reason is simple. The 1950s were a time when most coins circulated heavily, and few were saved right from the mint. So uncirculated examples from Denver are harder to find than you'd think. Let's talk about what to look for on your 1953 D penny. The obverse side, with Abraham Lincoln's portrait, should show fine hair details, clear lines in his coat, and strong lettering in God we trust and liberty. The date 1953 should be crisp, and the D mint mark below it should be clean and well-defined. On the reverse, both wheat ears should display individual grains clearly, and the lines surrounding 1 cent and United States of America should stand out sharply. If your coin retains this level of detail, it means it has minimal wear, which greatly increases its desirability. Now, collectors often categorize 1953 D pennies into several color grades: red RD, red-brown RB, and brown BN. Fully red coins are the most valuable because they've retained their original mint brilliance. These coins, when well preserved, often trade hands among collectors who know how difficult it is to find a 1953 D penny with full red color. Over time, environmental exposure turns copper coins darker, so those that still shine bright after 70 years are exceptional survivors. Let's not forget that minting quality also plays a role. Denver's minting in 1953 was generally sharp, but die wear and striking pressure varied. Some coins were struck with fresh dies and have crisp details, while others came from worn dies, resulting in softer, flatter images. This variation affects the visual appeal and, indirectly, the market value. The historical background adds another layer of interest. In 1953, Dwight D. Eisenhower was president. The Korean War had just ended, and the American economy was growing rapidly. The Lincoln wheat penny, which had been circulating since 1909, was a symbol of stability in a changing America. By 1953, it had already become one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. Collectors today see the 1953 D penny not just as a coin, but as a small, copper reminder of post-war America and its prosperity. Even though millions of these coins were minted, their survival in high-grade condition is limited. Many ended up worn or melted for their copper content when copper prices rose in later decades. That scarcity in pristine form drives collectors to pay strong premiums for beautiful coins. If you have a 1953 D wheat penny that still shows strong red color, full details, and no damage, it's worth examining carefully. Coins stored in albums, jars, or inherited collections often contain surprises. You might discover that an old penny you thought was ordinary could actually have collectible value. Collectors value not just rarity, but also eye appeal. A 1953 D penny with a smooth surface, original luster, and clean fields without spots can be visually striking. Coins like this often become centerpieces in Lincoln cent collections. And when combined with an interesting variety like a repunched mint mark, the appeal and value increase dramatically. Remember, viewers, this 1953 D wheat penny is valuable. Even though it was mass-produced, time, condition, and collector demand have made it a coin worth checking closely. Always handle your old pennies carefully, and if you come across one with bright color or unusual details, protect it from further damage. Every Lincoln wheat penny tells a story, and the 1953 D is a story of mid-century America, of copper craftsmanship, and of coins that have traveled through decades, yet remain collectible and desirable. So, take another look at your coin jars and family collections. That 1953 D penny might be sitting there, waiting to reveal its hidden worth. This coin continues to attract attention from collectors because it represents the enduring charm of the wheat cent series. The Denver Mint's 1953 production may seem common, but when you hold a sharply struck, well-preserved piece, you're holding a tangible piece of U.S. numismatic history, and that's something truly valuable. Viewers, remember, the 1953 D wheat penny is not just a 1-cent coin. It's a valuable collectible, a piece of copper history, and a small but shining link to the American story. Keep watching videos like this to learn about more rare and valuable coins that could be hiding in plain sight. This coin, the 1953 D Lincoln wheat penny, might just be worth more than you ever imagined. Next up, the 1951 wheat penny with the S mint mark is one of those classic coins that every collector loves to find, and it's a coin that can be surprisingly valuable depending on its condition, luster, and details. This coin was minted at the San Francisco Mint, and you can easily recognize it by the small S mint mark located just below the date on the obverse side of the coin, right beneath the year 1951. While many people think all wheat pennies are common, the 1951 S wheat penny stands out for its unique characteristics, beautiful design, and historical importance. And yes, this coin is valuable. The 1951 S wheat penny belongs to the famous Lincoln wheat cent series, which ran from 1909 to 1958. It features the familiar portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse side displays two stylized wheat stalks framing the denomination, 1 cent, and the phrase, United States of America. Above that, you can see the motto, E pluribus unum. These wheat ears gave the coin its popular nickname, the wheat penny. By 1951, the series was nearing its end, making the later years, like 1951, especially interesting to collectors. Now, the 1951 wheat penny was struck at the San Francisco Mint, which produced fewer coins than the Philadelphia and Denver mints during that time. The San Francisco Mint struck around 136 million pennies in 1951, a much lower number compared to the hundreds of millions struck in Denver or Philadelphia. That lower mintage immediately gives the 1951 wheat penny more collector appeal, especially in well-preserved condition. This coin is composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, the traditional bronze alloy used for Lincoln wheat cents before the composition changed in 1982. Because of that high copper content, many 1951 pennies develop beautiful reddish or brown tones over time. Collectors categorize these tones into three main color designations: red, red-brown, and brown. A full red 1951 penny that still has its original mint luster can be worth significantly more than one that has turned brown from oxidation or circulation. The natural reddish shine is a key factor in the coin's desirability. Even though it's not the rarest date in the wheat penny series, the 1951 penny becomes truly valuable when it's in high mint state condition or shows certain die varieties. Over the decades, collectors have identified minor errors and variations, such as repunched mint marks, die cracks, and doubling effects. The repunched S mint mark, for example, is a known variety where the letter appears doubled or slightly shifted. If your coin shows a strong or unusual S shape under magnification, you could have an error coin that adds considerable value. Let's take a closer look at what to examine on a 1951 wheat penny. On the obverse side, Abraham Lincoln's portrait should display sharp details, from his hair and beard lines to his coat folds. The inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1951, should all be crisp and legible. Below the date, the S mint mark should be clear and well-formed. On the reverse, look for clean, distinct lines in both wheat ears and strong lettering in 1 cent and United States of America. A coin that maintains these strong details with full mint luster has not seen much wear and could be very valuable. When it comes to grading, most 1951 pennies found in circulation today range from good to fine condition, often showing flat spots on Lincoln's face and worn wheat stalks. However, uncirculated or mint state examples are far less common and can be worth several dollars or more depending on color and quality. High-grade coins with full red luster often sell for strong premiums because so few have survived in pristine condition. The shine and original color of the copper can make a huge difference. Now, here's what makes the 1951 wheat penny even more interesting: its historical context. This coin was struck in an era when the United States was recovering from World War II and entering a period of post-war prosperity. In 1951, Harry S. Truman was president, and America's economy was booming. The San Francisco Mint, one of the oldest U.S. mints, continued its legacy of producing coins that symbolized national strength and continuity. The wheat cent design itself was a tribute to American agriculture and productivity, which fit perfectly with the post-war optimism of the early 1950s. So, owning a 1951 wheat penny isn't just about copper and numbers. It's about holding a piece of mid-century American history. Every mark, every detail on this coin tells a story about the people and economy of that era. That historical connection is part of what makes this coin valuable and collectible even today. Another factor that contributes to the value of the 1951 wheat penny is eye appeal. Coins with bright luster, smooth surfaces, and rich coloration tend to attract collectors immediately. A coin that has not been cleaned, scratched, or spotted has a much higher chance of being worth more. Cleaning a copper coin can actually reduce its value, as it can strip the natural patina that collectors appreciate. If you find one in excellent condition, the best thing to do is to store it properly in a coin holder or protective case to preserve its value. Let's talk about the varieties one more time. The 1951 S penny can show several interesting die varieties, such as repunched mint marks and even small doubling effects in the inscriptions. A strong repunched mint mark can show the impression of an earlier S underneath the main one. Some examples are quite clear under magnification, and these coins are always sought after by die variety collectors. These little minting quirks can make your 1951 S penny much more valuable than the regular one. Even without a visible error, the 1951 S penny in pristine condition is a treasure. Most examples in circulation grades might only be worth a few cents, but uncirculated ones, especially those with bright red color, can be worth several dollars or even more to the right collector. Some of the most beautiful examples in high mint state have fetched impressive prices at auction, showing just how much collectors value top-quality coins from the San Francisco Mint. Collectors often love to build complete wheat penny sets, including all the mint marks from each year. For 1951, there were 3 mint marks: no mint mark for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. Out of these, the 1951 S stands out for its beauty and relative scarcity in high grades. Many collectors specifically look for bright, red 1951 S cents to fill their albums, and that continued demand keeps the coin's value strong in the numismatic market. Now, it's important to remember that not all coins are equal. The way your 1951 S wheat penny has been stored or handled makes a huge difference. A coin that's been in a collection since the 1950s and kept safe in a coin folder can look completely different and be worth much more than one that's been rolling around in a drawer or coin jar. If your 1951 S penny still shows its original reddish glow and full detail, it's worth inspecting carefully. Viewers, this coin is valuable. The 1951 S wheat penny is one of those coins that might seem common at first, but when you take a closer look at its history, minting details, and condition, it reveals real worth. Every collector knows that coins from the San Francisco Mint have a special charm, and the 1951 S is no exception. It represents craftsmanship, history, and enduring value all in one small copper piece. If you find one in your change or your old coin collection, hold on to it and examine it closely. Check for that S mint mark, look for repunching, and pay attention to the color and surface condition. You might have a small but valuable piece of numismatic history in your hands. The 1951 S wheat penny continues to be a favorite among Lincoln cent collectors because it embodies what people love about collecting coins: beauty, history, and hidden value. Even after decades of circulation, some of these coins remain stunning examples of the artistry and precision of the U.S. Mint. So when you come across a 1951 S wheat penny, remember, it's not just a 1-cent coin. It's a valuable collectible, a historic artifact, and a symbol of American heritage that has stood the test of time. Next up, the 1945 wheat penny with no mint mark is one of the most fascinating coins from the World War II era, and it's a coin that many collectors still search for today. This penny, minted in Philadelphia, carries no mint mark below the date, and that simple absence actually tells a powerful story. The 1945 Lincoln wheat penny is not just another old cent. It's a valuable piece of American history, struck during one of the most important periods of the 20th century. And yes, this coin is valuable. Stay tuned as we explore why the 1945 wheat penny with no mint mark deserves attention, what makes it special, and how it could be worth much more than 1 cent. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series ran from 1909 to 1958 and was designed by Victor David Brenner. On the obverse, the coin features the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse shows 2 wheat stalks curving around the words 1 cent and United States of America, with the motto, E pluribus unum, at the top. The 1945 no mint mark penny is part of this classic design, and it was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark at the time. That means if you see a 1945 penny without a mint mark below the date, it was made in Philadelphia. Now, 1945 was a significant year. It marked the end of World War II. America was transitioning from wartime production back to peace, and copper was once again available for coinage after the experimental steel cents of 1943. The 1945 wheat penny was made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, just like pre-war pennies. That rich copper composition gives the coin its warm color and weight, and it's one reason collectors love these coins. They're solid, historic, and full of meaning from a time when the nation was rebuilding and celebrating victory. Even though millions of 1945 no-mint mark pennies were minted, over 1 billion to be exact, not all of them have survived in good condition. Most have circulated heavily, losing their original shine and details. But those few coins that were set aside right after minting, or kept safely for decades, are the ones that can be worth much more today. When a 1945 penny remains well preserved, with sharp features on Lincoln's face, hair, and clothing, it becomes far more than just an old coin. It becomes a collectible treasure. Collectors and coin enthusiasts look for certain characteristics when evaluating a 1945 wheat penny. On the obverse, Lincoln's hair should show full definition, especially around his forehead and the back of his head. The inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1945, should all be sharp and well defined. On the reverse, the two wheat stalks should display visible grain lines, and the words 1 cent and United States of America should appear bold and crisp. If your coin has these features, it's likely in higher grade and can be worth much more than face value. The 1945 no-mint mark penny can also show special varieties and minor minting errors that increase its value. Some examples exhibit doubling on the letters or numbers, slight die cracks, or misaligned strikes. A double die error on Liberty or In God We Trust, for example, can make the coin significantly more desirable. These errors happen during production when dies shifted slightly, creating a doubled appearance on the design. Collectors love these variations because they make each coin unique and more collectible. Another interesting aspect of the 1945 no-mint mark penny is its color and surface preservation. Over time, copper reacts with air and moisture, changing its tone. Coins that retain their original reddish shine are much more sought after by collectors. The richer and more vibrant the surface looks, the more value it holds. Many 1945 pennies today appear darker or have turned brown from circulation, but those with bright original surfaces are the real treasures. The Philadelphia Mint's 1945 production quality was generally good, but striking pressure varied. Some coins were struck with fresh dies and show outstanding details, while others struck with worn dies appear flatter and less sharp. When evaluating your coin, pay attention to the strength of the strike. The deeper the details, the more desirable the coin. Now, let's talk about the history that gives this coin even greater meaning. In 1945, the world witnessed the end of World War II. The soldiers were coming home, and the United States was emerging as a global power. Every coin minted during that time carried with it the spirit of a nation ready to move forward. The 1945 no-mint mark wheat penny, made of real copper again after wartime shortages, represents that transition. It was a symbol of peace and recovery, and today it stands as a tangible piece of that history. Even though the 1945 penny is not considered rare in general, condition plays the biggest role in determining value. Circulated coins are common and often sell for only a few cents, but uncirculated coins, those that have never been used, can be worth several dollars or more. Coins that retain their original color and luster, free from scratches and spots, are always more valuable. Collectors seek out coins with smooth surfaces and full details, and when they find a 1945 no-mint mark penny like that, they know it's a coin worth holding on to. Some 1945 pennies even come with small planchet errors, where the metal blank used to make the coin had imperfections. Off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or minor die breaks can all make your coin stand out from the ordinary. These errors were accidental, but today add tremendous appeal among era coin collectors. So if your 1945 wheat penny looks a little different or off-center, it might be worth examining closely. It could be worth much more than you think. The Philadelphia Mint produced coins for everyday circulation, but it didn't mark them with a mint letter at the time. That's why finding one with no mint mark automatically tells you it came from Philadelphia. Since this mint made so many coins, most examples were quickly released into circulation and spent for decades. But some rolls of these coins were saved by collectors and banks, and those untouched examples are the ones that now fetch higher premiums. If you have an old jar of pennies, a family coin collection, or even a coin inherited from an older generation, make sure to check the date. The 1945 no mint mark penny could be among them. Examine the surfaces under good lighting. Look for sharpness, color, and any unusual markings. Even small details can make a difference. This coin might have been passed down or forgotten, but it's worth taking a second look, because this coin is valuable. Collectors treasure these coins because they connect us to history. When you hold a 1945 wheat penny with no mint mark, you're holding a small piece of the post-war era. You're holding copper that circulated during a time of victory, hope, and rebuilding. It's not just metal, it's a reminder of America's resilience. So while it may only say 1 cent on the back, its real worth goes far beyond that. The 1945 no mint mark wheat penny can be valuable, both in terms of monetary worth and historical importance. Whether you're a coin collector, a history enthusiast, or just someone curious about old pennies, this coin is one you should never overlook. If you find one in beautiful condition, keep it safe. Avoid cleaning it, as cleaning can damage the surface and reduce its value. Store it properly in a dry, protected place to preserve its natural color and details. The 1945 wheat penny without a mint mark continues to be a favorite among collectors, and it's a reminder that even the smallest coins can hold big stories. Viewers, remember, the 1945 wheat penny with no mint mark is valuable. It's not just another old coin from your change jar. It's a historic collectible, a piece of wartime America, and a symbol of craftsmanship that has lasted for generations. Every detail on this coin tells a story, and that story makes it worth far more than just 1 cent. Next up, the 1952 wheat penny with the D mint mark is one of those coins that collectors love to talk about. This little copper coin may look simple, but it carries history, meaning, and potential value that makes it much more than just 1 cent. The 1952 wheat penny with the D mint mark was minted in Denver, and today, collectors continue to search for well-preserved examples because this coin is valuable. Whether you're a new collector or someone who has found one in your change or family collection, the 1952 D wheat penny is worth learning about in detail. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series was designed by Victor David Brenner and began in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The obverse shows the familiar portrait of Lincoln facing right with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1952, along with a small D below the date for the Denver Mint. On the reverse side are 2 wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent and United States of America, with the motto, E pluribus unum, across the top. The wheat ears symbolize prosperity and growth, making this design one of the most iconic in U.S. coinage history. By 1952, the Lincoln Wheat Penny had already been in circulation for more than 40 years, but it was still one of the most widely used coins in the country. The Denver Mint produced over 746 million of these coins that year, which might sound like a lot, but very few of those have survived in pristine condition. Most were heavily circulated, showing scratches, dullness, and wear. Only those coins that were stored carefully or kept untouched, since minting have retained their original luster and fine details. Those are the coins collectors seek out today, because they can be worth far more than a cent. The 1952 D wheat penny is made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighing about 3.11 grams. The coin's copper composition gives it that warm reddish-brown tone that collectors love. Over time, copper tends to darken or develop toning, so uncirculated examples with a bright, red appearance are considered much more desirable. A strong reddish color with full original mint luster makes a huge difference in how valuable your coin can be. When examining a 1952 D wheat penny, pay attention to the details. On the obverse, Lincoln's hair, beard, and jawline should show clear definition. The date should be bold and sharp, and the D mint mark below it should appear neatly struck. On the reverse, The two wheat ears should show strong lines and grains, and the inscriptions should be crisp. Coins that show these details sharply, without flattening or wear, are much more valuable to collectors. There are also certain varieties and errors found on 1952 D wheat pennies that make them even more collectible. Some coins have a repunched mint mark, where the D was stamped more than once during production, creating a doubled appearance. Others may show slight die cracks, die chips, or off-center strikes, all of which can increase the coin's uniqueness and desirability. These small differences are what make coin collecting exciting, as even minor variations can greatly affect a coin's value. During the early 1950s, the U.S. economy was growing after World War II, and coins like the 1952 D wheat penny were essential for everyday transactions. Denver was one of the busiest mints at the time, producing billions of coins annually to meet national demand. However, not all coins were struck with the same level of sharpness. Some coins were made with worn dies, leading to weaker details, while others struck from fresh dies show outstanding clarity and depth. The best struck examples from fresh dies are often the most sought after by collectors today. Although the 1952 D wheat penny is not considered rare in general, its condition is what truly determines its worth. Circulated coins, which show wear from everyday use, usually hold a modest premium, but uncirculated coins that retain their original shine can command much higher values. The difference between a dull brown circulated coin and a bright red uncirculated coin can be significant. Collectors will pay far more for coins that still look the way they did when they left the mint over 70 years ago. In addition to condition, color grading also plays a role in value. Coin collectors describe wheat pennies in terms of red, red-brown, or brown. A fully red coin means it has retained nearly all of its original copper luster, while a red-brown coin shows a mix of reddish and brown tones. A brown coin has lost most of its shine and has a darker surface. The redder and brighter the coin, the more valuable it tends to be. Another factor that makes the 1952 D wheat penny fascinating is its connection to America's history. By 1952, Abraham Lincoln had already been featured on the penny for over 4 decades, and his image had become a permanent part of American currency. The wheat penny design itself would only last a few more years before being replaced by the Lincoln Memorial Reverse in 1959. That means every wheat penny, including the 1952 D, is part of an era that ended long ago, adding to its collectible charm. Collectors often appreciate the craftsmanship of these coins, especially those in excellent condition. The sharpness of Lincoln's portrait, the precise lettering, and the clean wheat stalks on the reverse reflect the skill and precision of mid-century minting. Finding a 1952 D wheat penny that still shows these details today is like discovering a small piece of the 1950s frozen in time. If you happen to come across a 1952 wheat penny with a D mint mark, don't overlook it. Check its condition carefully. Even small differences in detail and shine can affect its value. Look closely for any errors, doubled features, or unusually sharp designs. These subtle details are what make this coin valuable to both beginner and expert collectors. Many coin enthusiasts enjoy assembling complete sets of wheat pennies, including every date and mint mark combination from 1909 through 1958. The 1952 D is an important part of that collection. Because it was struck at the Denver Mint, it often complements coins from the Philadelphia and San Francisco mints of the same year. Having a complete set with coins in higher grades makes a collection much more impressive and valuable. It's also worth noting that coins from the Denver Mint tend to have slightly stronger strikes than some other mints, meaning that the 1952 D wheat penny can display crisp and bold details when preserved well. However, since many of these coins entered circulation, finding one that remains fully bright and red is not easy, and that's exactly why it's worth searching for. Even though this coin is over 70 years old, it continues to appear in old coin rolls, estate collections, and inherited jars of change. If you have old coins lying around, it's always worth checking them carefully. You might be holding onto a 1952 D wheat penny that's been sitting quietly for decades, waiting to reveal its value. This coin is valuable not only for its potential price, but for the history it carries. It reminds us of a time when pennies had real weight and copper content, when craftsmanship mattered, and when even the smallest coins played a role in daily life. The 1952 wheat penny with the D mint mark represents that era, an era of hard work, rebuilding, and prosperity in post-war America. So, the next time you see a wheat penny dated 1952 with the D below the date, take a closer look. Examine its shine, its color, and its details. A coin like this, especially in mint state condition, could be worth much more than you think. Many people overlook these small copper coins, but collectors know that their true value lies in their rarity, their history, and their preservation. The 1952 D wheat penny stands out as one of the key coins of the 1950s era, and it continues to hold value in the numismatic world today. It's not just a coin. It's a connection to America's past, to the Denver Mint's craftsmanship, and to the enduring legacy of Abraham Lincoln. This coin is valuable. If you have one, keep it safe, handle it carefully, and never clean it, as cleaning can reduce its worth. Over time, a well-preserved 1952 D wheat penny can continue to appreciate in value. So always check your old change, because you might just discover a small copper treasure, the 1952 wheat penny with the D mint mark, a truly valuable piece of American history.